Okay, guys, episode 12. I think last week we mistakenly said episode 12, but this is episode 12. Welcome back to a new podcast. Everyone is a DJ. My name is Mano. In London, you got Wesley. Out in Toronto.
What's up?
happening? What's happening, big guy?
Bro, I'm good, man. Bright and early. It's Monday morning. You know, we're starting the week fresh, getting some shit done nice and early on the Monday. Bro, that's how I like to approach things now, man. I just want to get up early, get some shit done, man. I feel like this age thing, bro. It's just one of those things, don't you
You
think?
just get up. You get up with the birds now, bro. You get up with the shit, man. Crack of dawn.
Crack of dawn. Yeah, 7 a.m. here, which is nice, though, man. I've been up for a couple hours now, but I feel like, bro, these days, like alarm, I wake up without my alarm. It's just like, I'm ready to go, man. Let's go.
So your clocks went forward.
Clocks went forward. Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago now, though. So we're like, now 4 hours between us only, not 5 anymore.
Okay. Our clocks go forward next weekend, so we've got another week, and then I guess it goes back to 5-hour difference. So I think at the moment it's 4-hour difference. Okay. How was your weekend though, man?
Bro, it was good, man. I saw an artist in Toronto here at a club called Future. Haven't seen him in a while. But rest of the weekend was pretty chill, bro. Saturday, just kind of catching up on errands, doing my thing, and then yesterday I was playing golf, but bro, it was too cold, so like we called it early, like halfway through, we're like, yeah, fuck this, it's too much, bro.
Was that your first golf session in a while?
First golf session in a while, bro. Bro, you play golf?
Rusty? Still rusty or what?
Yeah,
rusty
I'm shit regardless, bro. It doesn't matter.
No, I don't. I want to get into it, but I'm just not. I've played it once. I was like at a stag in Hamburg in Germany.
Okay.
It's hard, man. It's hard. And I mean, I grew up playing sports, any sport, and I was pretty decent. But golf, it's just a different type of movement. Yeah, it's just different. It's just different. So.
But it's an addiction, bro. It's like one of those things, once you start and you get in it, it's no going back. Like, that's it.
It's expensive though, right? I mean, how much do you think you spend in a year just on your golf habit?
Shit, dude. Like, I mean, not including the gear, but like around here is between like $100 to 150 on average. And I try to play almost every weekend during the summer season. So that's like about 4 months. So you can do the math on that, bro. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit.
I'm sure it's worth it. What else been happening this weekend? Yeah, I had a gig here in London at a place called Tape. It's like a very popular nightclub here in London. It's usually hip hop, so they have like big hip hop artists like Gunna, Lil Baby, Travis Scott, those types of artists. But it's a decent brand. They've got branches in Lagos and other countries, so they do quite well, even in Mykonos now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, so they're trying to introduce more Afro House nights and Afro House events. So I played on Friday night with Bun Shapper. It was good to see him, actually, although it was brief. But yeah, I saw Bun. Yeah, it was a nice set. Sound system, not the best, so they should definitely fix that. And that's one thing about a lot of venues, man. Sound system, bro. Sound system is critical. And a lot of venues, I think, miss the mark when it comes to sound. Although the vibe is good, as a DJ, it's really difficult to feel the music if, again, number one, there were no monitors, right? So I couldn't really feel the sound. All I could hear was just the speakers in the room, but there was nothing close by. Yeah, there was nothing close by that I could feel. So although I could tell that people were enjoying the music, me as a music fan myself, I couldn't really feel it like that, but it was fine, man. It was fine. I only played for like an hour and then hand it over to Bun. But no, it was cool. It was cool. I think I like what they're doing. It's the type of Afro House that is a bit more, commercial. They're trying to sell tables. There's a lot of girls and table service and ballers.
Yeah.
So it's that type of vibe. But it's cool, man. I think I'm less judgmental on the type of Afro House that people try to sell these days. There's audiences that you have to serve, so it doesn't matter, what type of sound you're selling. I think if people spend money and they enjoy and they have a good time, let them let them do their thing, man. So it was a nice event. Yeah, apart from the sound system.
Bro, tape for me. So for those that don't know, I used to live in the UK. I did like my high school there.
Yeah,
And I was at a boarding school just outside London. And when you're in high school, you try to go out, go to a few clubs here and there, but tape was the one that I always really wanted to go to and I could never get into.
could never get in.
I never got in. But there were other clubs that, you could get into like Libertine and, those kind of places.
It's a very
Which were
young
all
crowd. It's a
yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
young crowd. Again, I was literally in and out. Got in there 5 minutes before the set. Got my USB out. Plugged it in. As soon as I finished, I was like to Bon, "Hey, what's up, man? You looking good?" Then I was out. You know what I mean?
That's it. You
Um,
didn't stick around for a set.
no, no. I mean, when you could tell. I've seen Bun so many times, and I was like, the first song that he played, I was like, okay, I know this one. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, but of course, it's all love. I love Bun. He's my guy. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think the next gig I've got is this Friday. Yeah, this Friday in Dublin, and
Okay, nice.
then in London again. So yeah, it's a decent time of
Nice,
the year.
bro.
Decent, decent, decent.
So I was out on Friday. I stuck around for half of his set, and the reason I'm not saying the guy's name is because we got into a bit of a sensitive topic about the state of Afro House right now, right? So we were chopping it up beforehand. We're talking about, where the sound is going, what he thinks, what he's
But
been
who
putting
started the
out.
conversation? Who started the conversation? Who was
More
primed?
him. He was like, because we were talking about his projects and his, extended projects and,
Yeah.
people he associates with. And I'm being ambiguous here, guys, because I don't want to throw the guy under the bus. I don't know if I should be saying this, but we're gonna keep it private. So we were just chatting. I was asking him about, what's going on. It's a different sound, and he just started kind of chewing my ear off at that point because I think it's definitely, a sensitivity of his. But what he was saying is that he's being kind of forced to pivot in a new direction, and it's kind of a response to, again, kind of conversations we've had before. Is like, what are the top songs being put out? You take a look at Make the Girls Dance as kind of a prime example, and why they're trying to find their own new lane in a different kind of sound, right? So, for him it was, they got to do something different. They're not interested in participating in that hype that's going on right now. And even his set, man, I mean, I probably stayed for about an hour for his set, and what I was used to seeing him a few years ago was completely different, and it just really wasn't for me, bro. It was really housey, a bit techno, kind of dark,
But was the
not my
crowd
thing.
enjoying it? I mean, I guess that's the most important thing. Was the crowd enjoying the set?
They were, yeah.
Okay.
Crowd enjoyed. I'll be honest, this venue I don't think has the best crowd. Just generally,
Gotcha,
not the
gotcha.
greatest crowd, but they were vibing, bro. They got it.
Interesting, interesting. So, what was I guess, the main point of the conversation, or the outcome, and the mic drop moment, I guess, where you were like, okay, they are pivoting as a brand, as a label, he's pivoting as an artist. But
Yeah.
what made you say, okay, yeah, this is something that is happening. It's not just a conversation.
You know what? It had to do. The conversation kind of kept flowing, and it was like, okay, who else besides some bigger names out there? Who else is actually staying true and authentic to that like kind of Afro house sound that it started with? When we were content creators, before that until now. And he said, have a look around, bro. Everybody's moving away. Everybody's doing this. And he says this because everybody's kind of the same opinion now that if you want to sell tracks, you kind of have to make a certain sound, which a lot of people are not too interested in doing anymore, right? So we're just chopping it up. I mean,
But what is
we're
that
talking about
sound? What is that sound?
like the Hugel sound, right? The Hugel sound, or even like a Magnifique sound. Those are kind of the two sounds, I guess, he thought
If you want to
are,
sell.
if you want to sell and you want to tour and you want to stay touring
So
as an Afro House DJ.
tracks like I Adore You, tracks like, I don't know,
Bam Bam.
So what is I mean a magnifique sound? What do you think is a magnifique successful track that has come out recently? I mean they've had a lot of artists on their label. I'm just trying to go through the catalog.
I want to
A
say like,
lot of
like a
Juno
get
tracks, right?
yeah, Juno is the first one that comes to mind. I've actually got his Spotify pulled up here. So, Last Dance, Get 'Em Up, Heat, those kinds of sounds, but then before that it was a more melodic kind of sound. So what are some good examples of that?
More melodic types of sounds. I think if we're talking about Afro House, even Juno's not Afro House. Hugel, I guess, would be closer to Afro House just because of the soulfulness
Yeah.
of the sound. I would say if you were to ask me, okay, which one is more Afro House, I would probably say Hugel, although I wouldn't attribute Afro House to that sound. Um, but yeah, still, those are bad examples, I think, to to kind of link to
Yeah.
Afro House. But still, I would say, yeah, he's not wrong in saying that if you want to sell in 2026, these are the sounds that you have to make. Just
Yeah,
look at Beatport,
exactly.
right? Just look at Beatport. I get it.
So that's what he was saying. I mean, long story short, right? So, from my side, I was telling him about how, like, being a content creator, that the sole purpose of my page is to, highlight recent events and artists and what they're doing all around the world. And then second to that is new music, right?
Sure.
And, having that discussion about how much more difficult it is to get access to content that you can say, oh, this is Afro House, or this is not, right? So you get a lot of clips. There's a lot of clips that's still floating around from the same guys that I've been following for years and years now. And the music that they're playing has definitely shifted, sort of across the board. I don't know if you feel the same thing on your channel as well.
Absolutely. I think this is why if you look at my page and just the activity and how much less I post now. I mean, if I post now, and I'll be honest, it's a paid post just because people know this now. That is my main source of income. So right, if it's a track that I think it's cool and the offer is good, then I'll post about it and I'll push it. But yeah, if the sound doesn't really resonate with me, then I'm not going to post about it. But yeah, 2-3 years ago, I was posting a lot, and the sound was a lot different, a lot more Afro, a lot more techie, and from different artists. I think
Yeah,
that it's changed a lot, but now people are making music for other DJs. People are making music um, for a certain stage. And I think that's the main driver, right? It's like, okay, what gets me gigs? What sound is gonna get me in this category and at
yeah,
this level? And the way to figure out that question is, okay, who's selling? What artists are doing the best? What artists are um doing well? And then you follow that road.
hmm
But yeah,
exactly. So yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really answer your question. So the mic drop moment,
yeah.
absolute mic drop moment was, is Afro House dead? Right? And from his side, it was basically like, pretty much, it's dying. There's only a
Okay, he
few.
said it's dying, but it wasn't like, yes, it's dead, bro. It's done. It's done. Was he like, it's
Yeah,
done, it's gone, or was he like, it's dying?
it's dying. It's dying.
Okay, it's
Okay, he didn't
dying.
say it's dead, but
It was like
you
it's
know what I
dead.
mean. So it's like if you really start to think about names here, like who is actually pushing the sound at the top level?
Okay, let's go through names. Let's go one for one, and then let's see how quickly we just run out of names.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
Okay,
Okay,
all
start.
right. I'll go first. I'll go Vanco.
Oh, Vanko, definitely a yes. Okay, top names. Shimza, yes and no.
Mm, Shimza, we love you, but I'm gonna push back, bro. We need another name. I'm gonna push back.
So not Shimza.
With all due respect, I'll push back.
Okay. How about a black coffee then? That's like the biggest and most obvious one.
Sure. Okay.
You?
Cairo. Cairo.
Cairo?
And
100%.
listen, the names that I'm mentioning are names that haven't switched the sound,
Yeah.
right? They're staying consistent from 2023, 2022 to 2026. The sound has stayed consistent. It's their sound. You know what I mean? That's where I am. That's what I'm going for. But also not to say that people shouldn't change their sound and they should stay the same. But you can still sense that that is their sound and that is what they're pushing, and that is Afro House. Do you know what I mean? And again, guys,
Absolutely.
this is not a conversation of keeping it real. People have changed. People are chasing the bag. No. We're just, having a conversation of who is pushing Afro House before it blew up. Who is pushing that sound?
No, I'm with you on that. So another name that comes to mind for me, Night Freak.
Good. Okay. Bun Shopper.
Yes.
Okay.
Capo. Okay. Kitty Amore.
Oh man, I was gonna say she was up next for me.
Yeah.
She was up next. Okay, who was okay. Damn.
See? How would you categorize Dlala Tuxin?
Yeah, he's like this blend of Afro tech. He's a bit everywhere.
Yeah, he's kind
I
of
mean,
pushing his own thing,
there's
right?
names that I've got in mind, but I'm also thinking of like people that are active out there gigging. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um, I would say people like Argento Dust, Mash, FKA Mash. Um,
Right. So for me there's a conversation here where you can segregate it kind of like geographically, right? So if you take the examples of the guys that are like a lot more Southern African based, it's not the same conversation as those who are really on the road elsewhere.
yeah.
So big names in South Africa, Dark, Junior SA, um, Citizen Deep, those kind of guys. Definitely still very prominent, and like that sound is still there to stay, and it's the most popular sound in Southern Africa right now. But if you take a look at events like that were a lot more Afro house, especially in Europe, compared to now, it's I think things have changed, man, and it's sad. It's tough.
Things have changed a lot. I think the next 2 or 3 years are gonna be fundamental, and this is like 2026 is where you need to kind of start making plans for what's gonna happen next, right? It's
Mhm.
sink or swim. It's like, do you change your sound right now, or do you figure out a way to make Afro House um, keep stay and keep its stature and level? Because I think you know I was saying this last week when I did the panel with Bad Box, Bodhisattva, Heavy K. They're also saying that the ship has sailed when it comes to Afro House, right? It's completely gone. Like now, no one cares about where the sound comes from. It's all about,
Yeah,
okay, what is the sound that is top 10 Beatport, and how can I make that, and how can I also benefit from that and get gigs for myself? That is the mindset. That is the strategy for a lot of artists. And I think over time, as that is the strategy, it's not about the sound, right? It's about what's popular. And that I think that's what's happened over time is, again, we talked about this before we started recording. I always think that Milkshake was the moment that changed everything, and that was the most popular sound. That Alex One,
yeah,
formulated production. Obviously he came up with that, but to me that was That was it. Alex One made a certain sound. Everybody started making that sound. We had guys like Martelou. We had guys like, I don't know, Montrouge, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, benefit from it. And slowly, slowly, the sound has shifted. And now we're getting into a more techier sound. We're getting guys like Sam, Juno.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So I have a question for you, right? So the way I think you can kind of look at things is that guys were always trying to make sound for, the top DJs to play because you can potentially build a career from that, right?
yeah.
So going back, first example was probably like Black Coffee. Everybody was starting to make music, so Black Coffee could play my song, get a good clip, go viral, all that kind of thing, right?
Black Coffee,
Then what
yeah, yeah.
then what kind of happened is, okay, Mujo with Milkshake, popularized, I think for the most part by kind of music playing it,
Alex One.
you know, Alex Wan's Milkshake, yeah.
Oh,
Kind
you
of
said
music
Mujo.
playing Milkshake. What did I say?
You said Mujo.
Oh shit, sorry. Um Alex Wan, Milkshake being played by kind of music,
Yeah.
right? Kind of built a career from that, a lot of momentum, official remix, the whole thing, right? Now into this next era of stuff, I think people are starting to make music for Magnifique and Sam and Ajna and Hugel and those kinds of things. So the wheel turns on that that turnout of music is because producers are catering toward what's hot and what's not, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. But also, I think that um, people are also less making music for other DJs to play.
You think so?
Yeah, I think before it was just like, all right, I'm just making this for kind of music. I'm going into the studio, making music for Adam Port, for Rampa, and me to play. But now that they're not even releasing that much music and we don't really know what music they're playing in their set like that, unless you're going to the shows,
Yeah.
people now are almost like, okay, I don't know what Adam Port plays now. I don't know what Rampa plays now. And if I do see a video of them on social media playing a track, it's not that old commercial Afro house. It's a bit of everything, right? So now you're able to send them whatever. You're able to send them disco. You're able to send them a bit more electronic, techier, groovier tracks. I think that's also um, changed the strategy and the outlook of a lot of artists because we've seen, kind of music being a bit more versatile in their DJ sets. They're not just
Yeah.
playing tracks like Move anymore. I think that's also changed massively. Massively. I think that's changed a lot. So you guys were saying Afro House is dead. So you left the conversation saying Afro House is dead or it's
We
dying.
did.
Okay.
We did. So that was the thing, man. And like, I've seen him play a bunch of times in a variety of different venues and cities as well. And I've never heard him play a set like he played on Friday night. And it was pivotal. It wasn't just like, gradual where it was a bit of a mix. It was, for me, it was like definitely definitive that his sound in his sets has changed and it's evolved and he's moved away.
Do you know what? I think we should have, before the podcast started, compare releases and the sound that people were putting out in 2023, 2022, and their last release and compare how different the production and the
That's
sound is.
that is a great conversation. For listeners at home, throw some comments up, let us know, give us some good examples and we can
I mean,
talk
the top of
about it
my
next time.
head, when did Shimza Euphoria come out?
Shimza Euphoria. I want to say beginning of 2025. Let me double check that one sec.
Shimza Euphoria, compare that to Missing You, right? Alex One Milkshake, compare that to what's the one with Notre Dame in the city? Fell in love in the city. Uh,
Okay, yes.
Salmon.
Euphoria was 2024 October, yeah. So there you go.
October 2024. I mean, even Sam's latest EP with Frank Fala and Benja, that was completely like a Brazilian funk with some groove and some, you know, I'm looking at Mujo Sound, right? If I'm looking at Mujo Sound, what was his latest release? Wasn't it Swing My Way?
Yeah, I mean his latest, it was Swing My Way, Z Roberto. Uh, those were kind of the two I think from
Yeah.
recently. Oh, Mimisiku, I guess that was a bit, but different as well. Different as well.
We can look at what's some other huge artists. Ajna, man, the sound that Ajna was pushing, I don't think it was ever kind of super Afro, but it was a lot groovier. But if you
Yeah,
look at a track like Bring in the Noise with Sentin,
different.
again, I think people are changing, but they're also making, calculated business decisions.
Yeah,
People want to play at Circo Loco. People want to play at Pasha. People want to play, in these cool venues that now are pushing that sound. Yeah, I was looking at the Scorpios lineup, and I would say 80% of that it's more kind of melodic. It's melodic
yeah.
house. Melodic house, I think, has become not the new Afro house, but has replaced Afro house um, in
Do you
terms
think
of, yeah, for sure.
like its demographic or its target audience, right? Because Scorpio, Shalona, those kind of places, there was a time that was like peak, man,
Yeah,
for our sound, and now it's obviously transitioning away into something else, right?
yeah. I mean, that's why artists like Arodas now very popular. That sound just translates. People love that sound.
Yeah.
Um, Shimza, extremely successful at the moment. But also, we talk about Shimza a lot, but his sets it's either very melodic, and then he's like, okay, I'm still Shimza, and then he'll show you some super Afro tracks.
Yeah.
You know, so he does provide both sides. Um, but yeah,
But
man, I think part of me is I don't want to say scared, but you're very concerned about what comes next and what you should do, and because it could completely die, where
yeah.
it's like, you know, where it's like it was super hot for like 2-3 years, and then nothing, no one
But you
cares.
know what? I was having these conversations at, a couple years ago with, various people in the industry, and like, when like things need to grow organically for there to be that solid base of, I guess, longevity in anything, right? Going to the gym, businesses, whatever, right? Things take time, you build slowly, solid framework, behind the scenes. But I think with, Afro House, kind of music boom, whatever you want to attribute it to, there's a lot of different arguments. I think it just became that exponential growth way too quickly, and then we're facing a kind of sharper decline than I would have liked, you know?
And that's a good way of putting it. It almost happened over the span of like 6 months.
Yeah.
For me, again, it started with Milkshake, but then more recently, can you think about a time or a track that was like, all right, now we're switching over to a more melodic sound, a techier, a techier sound? Because it's I think it happened last year at some point. I would maybe early or mid last year. Um,
Oof, that is a good question, because there's still such a variety of different sounds out there,
and
but
listen, yeah, we're still getting Afro house tracks. I mean, I'm just looking at the top 10 now on Beatport. Not a lot. Number 10, House on Frame, Feel Alive. House on Frame, they put out more European, but I
Yeah.
think they do have some Afro tech elements on that label. Of course, Make the Girls Dance dominates a lot of that space and on Beatport Afro House. Deco White Lines, of course, that's our track. I wouldn't say that's Afro House, honestly. That's completely melodic deep.
Yeah.
Uh, Masuma Mermaid, number 5. Is that Afro House? Sure, but again, that is the kind of commercial one.
Yeah.
Mm,
See, it's blurred lines now, right? It's blurred lines, more or less for the most part. And that's, I guess, the frustration that the conversation arose from on Friday night. But, I want to talk about Black Coffee for a sec. So, I think even Black Coffee sets have evolved, from being a lot more Afro tech sort of focused. He's definitely shifting into a more, I wouldn't say melodic, but a definitely more housey, deep house, sound. And, you take a look at Trippie as an example. We were talking about it, earlier. That's not Afro House either, right? But that's his latest release,
Trippy, yeah.
Trippie. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I went to his set in London, one of the best sets ever
Okay.
that I've ever seen. But it was definitely Afro. It was definitely Afro. But this is why he's the best, because he has this way of making the sound almost like European techno without feeling like it's European techno. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's weird,
Yeah.
bro. Because you're listening, you're there, and you're like, this is definitely Afro, but something about it just feels like you're still at a techno party.
Yeah. Listen,
Um,
that is a really good way to put it, actually. He's
that's
special
true.
like that.
He's special like that because it's like he's definitely playing Afrotech tracks and Afrotech um like groove, but the way the vibe is set, the way he's dropping tracks, the way he's engaging with the crowd, the way, of course, the acapellas come in, you know, it feels like a European techno set, but it's different, right? Because it's got that Afrotech foundation. And I haven't seen many artists do that. I haven't seen many artists being able to, yeah, to put together something like that. But it takes time though, because I think a lot of artists now, DJ style wise, it's like I'm playing this track and I'm playing this track and I'm playing this track. Black
Right.
Coffee doesn't DJ like that, bro. He's like, I'm playing this vibe and I'm gonna blend it with this vibe,
Yeah.
and nothing feels like one track after the other. It's just like a complete journey, which is hard, bro. It's hard.
It is, bro. So I guess the question for you is who who else at the really top level, like the pinnacle? We talked about upper echelon last week. Who at the top is really, really still pushing, on the genre's behalf?
Really, really pushing. I think for me, Francis, I would say probably the most successful that's not named Black Coffee or Shimza
Yeah,
that is releasing Afro House tracks. I can go,
consistently.
yeah, I can go on his Beatport and I'll do this alone, this podcast, but, we can go on his Beatport and, he's got this kind of Afro House, three-steppy sound that he's
Yeah,
got going on, which works. Of course, Francis has those mega commercial tracks. Um, but I would say he's doing a very good job at still pushing Afro House and being I guess a flag bearer for the sound. Vanko again, but I think Vanko is at this fork in the road moment right now where Martin Sani is not an Afro House track. It's not.
yeah,
Vanko, I love you. Martin Sani is not Afro House, but the tracks that he sends me are very Afro House. So it's going to be
yeah.
interesting to see when he puts out these tracks, or if he puts out these tracks, what the reception is going to be, right? He did really well with the remix of What's it called, man? Come on. Scissor. That scissor track. What's the track called? Um,
My mind is blanking right now.
bro, you should know this shit. But yeah, the
Yeah, I
remix
know.
of that track. We can edit this bit. That remix. Uh, uh, yeah, Isaka, right? Isaka,
Isaka. Fucking hell, yeah.
really, really well. Um, Wolf, did he put out Wolf? Did Wolf come out? Have you
I
heard
don't
Wolf?
think so. I've heard Wolf, yeah. I don't think it's out yet
Wolf?
though.
Okay, Wolf is not out yet. But yeah, man, he sends me a lot of music, and I'm always like, damn. He's got a specific sound which is needed. I think as a big artist, you want that recognizing sound. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah,
Absolutely.
man, it's yeah. We can keep talking about other artists and like even like a Kitty Amore, the last track she put out. Um, quite commercial Afro, right?
Absolutely. So I think oh, that's the whole thing, right? Is that DJs are pushing into another sound, generally across the board. Obviously, if you break it down DJ by DJ, artist by artist, we can talk about each individually and their journey, but it's definitely a trend where there's a sound that, the world is kind of moving into, and that original, I wouldn't say original, but the Afro house from like 3, 4, 5 years ago has came and went for the most part, right?
Okay.
But what I do think as well, not only on the artist and DJ side, if you take a look at event brands, sort of globally, and clubs around the world, we touched on Shalona, we touched on Scorpios. They're not really putting or pushing out that kind of sound for their events as much as they were either, right?
Yeah, yeah. But also, it's a let's think about this, right? Let's think about this more from a business perspective. Who can afford kind of music? Not many events, not many venues. Even the
Yeah,
best ones can afford kind of music, right? And at the same time, the talent that you book is a specific talent, right? That connects to a specific demographic. These are all things that you have to think about when you're booking artists, right? So if you can't book the most expensive artists, right, then you go down the list, and as the sound changes, right now we're at this level on that list where the sound is this,
yeah.
right? So if these guys are getting all the bookings, then as an up and coming artist, you're like, man, they're getting all the bookings because they're making the sound. You're gonna be like, all right, I want to get bookings. I'm gonna start making the sound. That's also another way of looking at it, I think.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Um, I guess
Because
also from that original, like, I keep using the word original. It's not the right word, but the Afro House circuit 3, 4 years ago, versus now is very different. I mean, what are some kind of like Afro House staple venues? First one that comes to mind is always Istar in Madrid. I think they were pivotal in Europe to really push the sound. They do still do some Afro House acts, but their sound has definitely changed. With the younger demographic. Across the board. But big event brands, I think one of the biggest still is Zazu in Amsterdam. They keep it OG. Kunye, obviously. I'd like to see Kunye do a lot more cross border stuff, though.
yeah, yeah. I'm thinking because I played at Istar,
Yeah.
and every time I play there, there's certain tracks that you play.
Okay.
But as I was thinking about this, you're like, man, since Move came out, how many like viral Afro House tracks have come out? Not that many.
No.
Yamore, Matansani, Bam Bam. That's not really Afro House to me though. What
No.
else? What else? Like it's tough, bro.
Yeah. Like, I was thinking about that earlier, actually. Like, Fire Fire is obviously one of the
Fire
biggest tracks right
Fire.
now. Is it
Okay.
Afro? Is it not? Tough conversation, right?
But yeah, that's that. Honestly, that's one of the best tracks to play. Every time I play it, crowd goes nuts.
I
Like
mean, it is a crowd pleaser,
crowd
right?
pleaser. But I mean, I think that maybe that's where the answer to this whole conversation is. Like, since Move came out in 2024, I think it's 2024.
Yeah.
How many viral Afro House tracks that have done really, really well have come out? Yamore, Martin Sani, Move.
Blank.
Help me out. Guys, help me out. And again, we can argue, are these Afro House, not Afro House? Fire, a lot of streams.
Yeah.
Your Body, Martin Lou has a lot of streams. Maybe I should have mentioned this track, but that track has a lot of streams. Go check it out. Like, it's like 90 million streams. Is it Afro House? Probably not, but some people might
So
call
so
Afro.
the question I have for you is like, what? Okay, this alludes to kind of what we've been talking about, but for Afro House to be back and in full swing, like what does it actually take? Do we need a few more hits, or is it something else? Where's the problem?
I think you've got to go back to the Your Voice era. To
Yeah,
me, that's the first thing I'm thinking about. Is that type of vibe, those types of moments where it's, yeah, you can't quite put your finger on what makes the sound special, but it feels fresh. It doesn't feel like it's a production that's trying to be this. It's trying to copy this. It's trying to copy this artist. But it is going to require, I think, new elements, new sounds, more originality. And I think some artists that are doing that very well at the moment, we always talk about Ape, right?
Ape drums. Yeah,
We always talk about Bun Shopper, Fanco. Who else? Who else would you put? That's got like
I think
good chance, good opportunity of bringing Afro House back.
I always want to give love to the Portuguese guys. I mean, they're pushing. They've got a good. I think they've got their own thing as well. Afro Killers, Braith, 40D, Jeff, Maith. There's a lot of the Portuguese or Angolan Afro House guys that I think
Sure.
are super talented, and I don't think they've actually had their moment yet either. But they have it in them. They have it in them.
Listen, shout out to Braith. I think he's definitely knocking with two hands. Like, he's got two hands on the door and he's fucking knocking, because Africana,
Oh, mate, big track.
big track. And I think he's got another one coming out on Deep Root. But yeah, Brave, knocking, Afro Killers, of course, and we know this, right? They've got some amazing productions in the hard drive.
Absolutely.
But yeah, listen,
I
I
mean,
think where do we go from here? Again, I think the decrease is going to keep happening. Absolutely. I think it's going to keep happening, and you're going to see less and less artists making that sound. I mean, we know people very close to us that tell us, yeah, we're not Afro House artists anymore. We're doing house, we're
yeah.
doing disco. We hear this all the time. So guys, that is a real conversation. It's happening. But I don't know, man. I don't know what happens next, honestly.
Let's see. But guys listening at home, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Obviously, let us know what you think about Afro House, where it's going in the next couple years. That was episode 12. It's Wesley G and Manu. We'll talk to you next time.
Peace. Good.
Fucking